My name is LaCasse. I am the owner of SEO Expert Las Vegas. I've been doing SEO for about 6+ years, up until June 1st of this year when AI mode and all the LLMs came and all that old experience went out the window because every SEO had to start learning AI. AI has changed everything about how a website is seen. And before I go into the actual part of my presentation, I'm going to go over some of the older legacy SEO stuff so that you guys have an understanding that this stuff that was done many years before is still relevant today because it's part of the LLMs. This is what they look for, okay? So what is SEO? SEO is the process of making both a website easier to find from both AI, Google, and more importantly, customers. Your website is still engaging with humans that are making a decision. That doesn't change because of an AI or an LLM or Google search results. It's still the same system. This dictates how you want to talk on your website. Tone is a bigger probability of success than just having AI write the copy for your website. How and what you need to say to your website that directly inflicts an emotion or decision from your audience as a human, that determines what's successful. SEO is visibility, relevance, and trust. And we're going to go a little further into that in the next slide. So, the old Google puzzle, which is still relevant today, is based completely on search intent. Search intent is broken down into 4 different categories. Informational, the name of the business, address, phone number, physical location. You guys don't have to worry about this anymore because this is what AI has taken over. When you start using the ChatGPTs to look for a business, it is literally taking the informational search intent and giving it back to the user. You don't ever have to worry about this because not only is Google taking it over, but it auto-generates it in generative AI. So you don't have to worry about this one. Navigational, you don't have to worry about this one either. This is a search intent where you leave Google to go somewhere else. A Facebook login, Netflix login. You're leaving Google to a different system. That is the weakest one of these search intents because it's programmed, it's a technical thing, but it's still part of the list. Transactional. This is the moneymaker for every small business website. Best, affordable, luxurious, near me. Words that associate with a transaction. The people that are looking up these words are ready to buy. Are they in your website? And the last one is commercial. 10 best blah, blah, blah in Las Vegas. 10 best bike shops in Las Vegas. You are putting yourself in commercializing your business above and others in the same context. This is where blogging comes in. You cannot get new keywords and new people to come to your website unless you tell them why you need to have them come to you first. That's commercial intent. The only two that any business website has to worry about is transactional and commercial. Why are you the best? Why are you better than everyone else? How are you going to prove that you are the best? Next one is the golden algorithm of SEO, the EEAT. This is how you acquire new keywords in the old system. Experience. How many years have you been in this business? How do you prove that you are experienced in what you sell? Expertise. Because of that experience, are you the expert? Have people come to you because you're the expert? How do you prove that? Testimonials, reviews, blogging that says, I've been doing this for so long, I know this that others don't. Because of that, authority. If you are the best at what you're selling and you are the authority, you need to talk about it. And from that comes trust. If you have all those 3 words combined, you have the most trusted factor online. And the reason you'll know is that people will visit you. People will talk about you. People will respond to your posts. That's how you know you're establishing EAT. This has been around for 15 years, and it still hasn't changed because of AI. People that understand this and use this in their posting are guaranteed results. Guaranteed. So, let's talk about what the meat and potatoes of this presentation is. The harsh truth: most websites are invisible. Now, being that this is a startup NV event, we have a lot of talk about angel investors, building a pitch deck. This is the other side of the argument. Instead of asking for a six-figure check and 66% of your business, if you were to focus on SEO, building, rolling up the sleeves and digging your hands into the digital dirt, do you even think you need an angel investor after a year? That's what I'm going to present to you. Because this path is long. It is a very long path. It is the turtle. The angel investors, unfortunately, it's the rabbit. And I'm going to explain to you. So, I have seen through a lot of startups, a lot of pitching decks, a lot of pitch competitions, that most of these businesses don't even have a website. They just have a nice conversation about what they're selling, and they're selling the dream. They have no website, and even if they did, no backlinks, no keywords, no one's coming to it. Again, what they want is they need to get attention so they can get that money, right? But SEO provides something for free if you work at it, and that is organic visibility. And that doesn't die because you stop paying the Google ads. It grows over time, and you get to see who is actually coming to you. Why are they there? What did they do when they're on your website? Angel investors notoriously ignore SEO. They don't see the point because it takes too much time. Okay? On average, for any business website that I've ever seen, to get from the day that they publish their website to actually organic traffic, at minimum, is 1 year. Unless you're in part of the big four. The big four industries: hospitality and hotels, real estate, lawyers, health and beauty products. Any of those four, you can add a 0 to that one. It's just that competitive, right? And again, it's not that the product isn't good, it's just that there's so much saturation. So you have to do so much content, so much that you have to promote and talk about just to be seen, let alone beat other competition. Many investors don't consider SERP Google ranking important because they're going to inject money into ads, and then they can calculate from from the money that they've put in ads, the amount of customers that come back. Well, with SEO, you are getting 100% of the audience from promoting yourself through the socials and through your website, so that the people that are engaged with you are engaged with you, not with the ad, right? Paid ads are a very important part of business growth. In the SEO perspective, it's important after 1 year. Because let's look at the ideology of what's going on. If you were to take a business website, consistently post on socials 100 times in 1 month, 3 a day, after that month, just think of what you will gain. You will gain an awareness of the words that people engage with, how many times people came to your website from a certain type of engagement copy, the photos that would be used for your product or service. In 1 month, you would have an absolute clear understanding of how your website should be designed because you have data behind it from the socials. In the modern world, SEO and socials are an absolute symbiotic relationship. I can't do SEO unless I see what's engaging from the socials, because the socials resonate with humans. And that in turn directs the copy for my website. And then I promote it back on socials and it resonates back in. It's one big circle. But when you use paid ads, you're renting the guess. You're guessing. And even with the AI automation of Google Ads, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to milk as much money out of you for high clicks, high cost per click, and maybe a guaranteed 5 customers out of a $1,000 campaign. But if you were to hold that off for 1 year, think of everything that you could purchase and rent that you're not ranking for, because you're already organically ranking because you've done the SEO in the beginning. Another thing about angel investors, and not to pick on them too much, is that they see SEO as a monthly expense. They see it as someone that will do an audit on the website, make sure all the status codes are good, make sure that there's no 404 pages, make sure that everything looks clean. But as I explained that this is an asset, if a business website focused on growth organically, they won't need an angel investor. Period. Evergreen content grows exponentially over time. And even with a blog that gets 20, 30 looks, you can take that blog and break it up into smaller component blogs that re-emphasize the one that's evergreen, right? It's all mechanical movement at this point. But you don't know what's ranking, you don't know what people are actually coming to you unless you roll your sleeves up and get into the digital dirt. SEO, and here's the big equation up here. If an angel investing firm was to look at the organic SEO over 1 year, you would have a high-ranking organic site. That, in turn, would be a predictable inbound pipeline, consistent visits per month. Well, what does that do to the valuation of the website? It makes it more valuable. An angel investor doesn't have to spend a dime if they had an SEO that built their incubating website for 1 calendar year or 6 months. Then they would know what $1 of paid ads in a keyword that is not ranking for them would return more and more customers. It is the pre-injection of funds to see if this thing actually carries weight in the digital marketplace, right? Organic leads do not die. Rented leads die as soon as the conversion's done. If you are purchasing lead generation on Google Ads, as soon as you stop paying, you're not getting it anymore. But if you had organics, if you had content that drove copy that says, hey, I'm the best solution with EAT and search intent, it grows or sustains over time. And it's free because you built it with your own hands. Now, the new reality is AI. SEOs have been knowing that AI is going to be coming for the last 9 months, with AI overviews was the first nail in the coffin. After June 1st, with AI mode, every SEO was like, all right, what are we going to do now? But SEOs knew about this, and we knew what was going to happen. See, there's 3 major events that happened in the SEO world within the last year that really opened up the books as far as what Google's doing. The first one was January, February of last year. There was a data breach in which like 6,000 pages of algorithm documentation was leaked. And of course, SEOs grabbed it and put it in the forums. And every SEO was reading it and like, oh, that's what they're calling this. That's what they're calling this. From that data leak, we knew and figured out in the field what the search requirements were for ranking. And the requirements were backlinks, organic keywords, organic traffic. That was it.
For Google specifically?
This was before AI, right? So this was before AI.
Yeah.
The next one was when AI mode came out, a lot of SEOs were using prompting to find out what their back-end programming was. And they did it through all of them, ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini. And they found that most of them were using Reddit and Wikipedia. That was what they were using for their back-end learning databases. That still hasn't changed. Right. And then recently, the Supreme Court ordered Google to break itself apart. The antitrust was a huge moment for SEOs because now they have to release more of what their algorithm is so that third parties can start to build their own web browsers around it, which means Apple, DuckDuckGo, Chrome is still around, but Safari and Firefox. That means SEOs don't have to really compete with Google if they know how to manipulate the other browsers. That was huge. It changed the absolute field overnight. Those three things are the backbone of the future of AI. It's about what you say and the tone in which you say it. But AI still has to follow the old rules. Part of agents that are going out and searching are still using remnants of the old search results algorithm to produce the generative AI responses of your inquiries. That hasn't changed. So the legacy SEO system is still around. It's just that everyone's kind of got the blind eye, deer in the headlight look because AI is what's most important. Most businesses aren't even at the point to be looked at for AI because they haven't built enough of an organic base for their website so that it can be seen by the LLMs. So here is my moving forward for every business. Treat SEO as an equity investment, not a line item. What I told you about search intent, EAT, that sets you up to at least compete in the digital marketplace. It's not posts of your dog or the Bellagio fountain or the El Cortez sign. It's about what you do that's better than anyone else, period. And you re-emphasize it. You say it 5 different ways, 5 different days of the week. You write a blog that talks about your business being better because you do this. You've been in this industry of your business website for 10 years. What did you learn in those 10 years? That is indispensable ranking factors in SEO that will never, ever change. And unfortunately, the angel investing system doesn't look at that. They want to look at, if I invest $300,000, I run $150,000 in ads, how many customers can I get to pay back what I gave them? They will not look at the fact that this business is a plant. And you cannot artificially grow it. It has to grow on its own. But this is for angel investors as well, because angel investors that invest in at least courting an SEO will be more powerful than you could possibly imagine. If an angel investing group was to say, hey, we have this SEO, you're going to work with him for 6 months before we even cut you a check. Think how efficient that website will be. Just think how efficient that angel investor would be. They wouldn't have to spend one dime for 6 months. And along that path, the business owner and the SEO will know what the brand is. That's what really SEO comes down to. How much of a brand do you want to build? And how dirty are you willing to get to talk about the brand that you're building? Okay? Any questions? Any questions at all?
Like, it would steer
Go ahead. Go ahead.
When you like sit in any of these rooms, like you might be talking to the people that tell you how to build your product. And they're going to tell you, before you do anything with building a product, you need to do this. And then if you sit in another room, they're like, before you do anything with finances, you need to do this.
Yep.
And then, like here, it's like, before you do anything, you need to do, like, we can only do so much.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
How do I do this efficiently and fast while also building the rest of this?
And it's nothing against the angel investing system. You're absolutely right. You come to one of these things, you're going to get 20 line items for the next week. I completely understand that. But all I'm offering is the thought experiment of actually building what you have for your business on your own through your own engagement first, before you're standing in front of the mirror with a pitch saying, hey, this is, at least you would know. Instead of trying to sell the dream of the business, you actually have data behind it. You actually say, I get 100 visits a month. I'm ranking in Las Vegas for these keywords. But you know what also happens if you do that? You won't need an angel investor. You will. It's going to take you a year, exactly. And that's the problem. That's what the individual business owner needs to look at. If we're really going to be talking about startups in Nevada, in Las Vegas, the real conversation is, do you want to sell the idea or do you want to have data behind the business? Both of them, you can't have both, right? You got to pick one. This one is a turtle race. It is slow. It is frustrating. You're going to have months where no one comes to your website, but you're going to make one little decision, one more post that changes the copy of what your business does, and you're going to get 5 visits. And then you're going to get an idea of what you need to say for the next 5, and the next 5, and the next 5. Now again, here's another thought. If you were to do SEO or hire SEO to build an organic business, and you were going to pitch at an angel event, and you had that SEO look up the traffic for the angel investing website, and you outrank them, because angel investors are still needing SEO too. They're competing along with all the other angel investors. They need keywords. They need traffic. And a lot of them don't, because, like I said, they ignore it. They don't think of it as a relevant element of marketing. And why should they? They have no traffic. They have the black book with all their content, all their people that they talk to. They have the network behind them. They have the people at the banks. They have people that do building out products. They have marketing people. But those marketing people aren't coming to the angel website and saying, well, you need to compete for better pitches. Let's raise up your numbers, right? So again, you're absolutely right. These things, you get a lot of homework, right? I'm not saying you have to jump onto SEO and start building everything. I'm only expressing the thought experiment that if you don't want to be pitching for an angel investment, this is the next logical step. This is the alternative. Yes?
So you're saying that the search engine optimization tactic is blogging and promoting your site and through the socials.
Yep.
And you're going to be posting that and hoping that you work up your way up in the ranking. And you're saying that because of the changes of using AI, that's going to still be the best way to approach it, rather than to take a different tactic. And then to optimize, because Google's been forced to release data on their search engine optimization, that's going to give us the components we need to be able to optimize better.
For different browsers, you're absolutely right.
For
Yep.
different browsers, but
Yeah, it's counterintuitive because everyone is so obsessed with how awesome AI is, but it hasn't changed the ranking, right? It's just, here's the thing.
So you don't think that, what about the click-through? Because the click-throughs aren't happening. I know that.
Yep.
Right, the click-throughs are not happening, so
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not getting that money,
Yep.
you know, for click-throughs. People just read the AI summary and then they're off to the races. So
Yep.
rather than doing the click-through. So as a small business, you know, one of the things I noticed is, like, if you have a name similar to another company's name, Digitech. Somebody was talking about that in Kurt's presentation. I tried to Google them. Guess what? Digitech, there's 5 zillion of
Yep.
them. We didn't know which one we're talking about.
Right.
Even if I specified Las Vegas, because they say they're based here, I can't find Digitech. There's just like too many variation, or too many companies, so you can't differentiate yourself.
Right.
So,
That's a big thing because that's, you know, domain names. What is the name of the business? You know, if that's true, you know, you gotta have a way to stand out, right?
do you think the longer name, like I've seen a lot of websites go to my benefits at custom coupons LasVegas.com. You know
All right.
what I mean? Like I've seen that.
So if we were having this conversation 3 years ago, there's a whole SEO presentation that I could make on just how to name your domain.
Okay.
After June 1st, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
AI's gonna.
AI already,
Or it won't.
yep. AI is either going to reward it because of the strength of the domain or what the domain is actually tied to.
Okay. So
That's,
take time to.
all right.
What are we talking about there?
Backlinks. Everyone fails on backlinks, especially the one backlink that I've mentioned before, and I'll say it again.
Google My Business.
No, yellowpages.net. Yellowpages.net. Every domain under the sun has a ranking number. Yellow Pages is an 81 out of 100. The number one website in the world is always going to be Facebook. Hasn't changed. It's not a search engine, it's a website. If you were to, what?
No, the number one what?
Number one website, 100 out of 100. Facebook hasn't lost their rating in 5 years. They make so much organic traffic. Yellowpages.net is an 81 out of 100. If you were to take 30 minutes and fill out the free yellowpages.net business citation, hit enter, get the confirmation on your website. In 2 weeks, your domain rating will go up by 2 whole points. How many businesses do you pass in the world with a bump of 2? 7.5 million websites with 1 free citation. The reason? Nobody does it. Because of the name. Yellow Pages, who cares about Yellow Pages? No one, when was the last time you saw a Yellow Pages book? You know what they did? They went online. They went online with a free citation. And you want to know what else comes with that? Commercial intent. 10 best bike shops in Las Vegas. You get to be part of that ecosystem for 20 minutes of your time and a free citation. Nobody does it. Question?
Yeah. Going back to SEO, it sounded like you were presenting this as if it was like an either or, like organic SEO, you build it yourself versus investors putting in money for ad spend.
Yep.
If you maintain, say you're still a small business, you're trying to do it on your own, are you, like, would you advocate for trying to do both, a little bit of ad spend plus the SEO? And if so, what's like the minimum ad spend that you would recommend where you could actually use that data to drive your organic SEO?
So that's a really good point. Very good question. I wouldn't do it, right? Because if you can get data for free by rolling up the sleeves, doing 100 posts a month, and that's free, right? Now, after that month, you could dictate the highest performing engaging social posts into the keywords to reverb into. You could do that. But my hypothesis is very simple. Do the hard work first and see what comes from that. Because if we're looking at a business as a plant, do you want to inject artificial fertilizer into it, knowing that it's going to grow, but as soon as you stop putting it in there, it's going to die? Whereas if you grew it with blogging, social posts, video testimonials, people miss on video testimonials all the time. Do you know how powerful that is? It's a person talking about your business, about how awesome you are. So not only is it social proofing, but it's also EAT. And it's also transactional consent, right? I wouldn't do it, but it's possible because you would have to teeter-totter both, right? I got engagement from this, let's buy 1 week of that keyword on paid ads. Well, you see how that would get confusing, right? But I understand what you're saying. If a business takes off organically in 6 months, then the next 6 months you do paid ads, right? But I wouldn't mix it. Go ahead.
You just brought this up briefly. You mentioned video, and obviously, video consumption has skyrocketed over the past 5 years or so. In terms of that, how do you look at utilizing that video to improve SEO that's not restricted to the platforms that these videos are posted on?
Not restricted to the platforms? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, or should you be posting on your own website and embedding? Is that the general thing?
Oh, yes, I see what you're saying. You're right. I would stick with videos in YouTube. The reason is because it's the second largest search engine in the world. So stick it where it needs to be placed. Once you start integrating it into your website, now you're going into the load search speed. If you have a video embedded in your load search speed, that's going to go down, right? The most important factor of your load speed of your website is mobile. Desktop, fine, you have a lot more leeway. But mobile, because most businesses, 70% of your customers are going to be coming from the phone anyway. So if you have a video and it takes more than 1.5 seconds to load, boop, your load speed is going to go down, people are going to click off. So keep it on YouTube. However, you can link to the YouTube channel from your website. That's the most efficient way because that database only takes up the hyperlink and the pixels of the lettering. And they click and you get the referral code going to YouTube, right? Your question?
A lot of what you've talked about seems like it's more tailored for a local business or a brick and mortar or something that's specific to a location. How does this change for a SaaS business or for something that's not a local business?
That's a really good question. I still believe that the timeline, and again, the timeline for organic growth is going to completely depend on how consistent the business, whether it's one person or 5 people or 10 people, how consistent they're promoting the business locally, right? Every SaaS business has an office, right? It still has to put their stake in the ground somewhere in Las Vegas. So that immediately puts them into the Google My Business local SEO. That puts them into Yelp if they're doing it out of their home and they can't get the Google My Business profile. So now they have to deal with the Yelp juggernaut. Again, if it's done here in Vegas, then the first fight is always going to be Las Vegas. As it grows, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to know more about what they do. They're going to organically know what this business, what this SaaS is actually doing for people. Now they may have to change the verbiage of their socials, they may have to change the verbiage of their website, but because they stayed here and focused on this city, they will be able to exponentially grow to LA and New York because they know what they have, right? Again, if a SaaS is looking for angel investors, that's fine. They need a lot of money for all the programming. Again, if it's going to be built in the garage, that's more the organic Apple and all these startups that we see in their startup stories because they worked in rolling up their sleeves to build it themselves organically because they probably didn't have the money to do the marketing and all that. But you would know what to say after 1 year of building it because you built it yourself, right? And then after that year, you probably won't need an angel investor. You'll have a complete understanding of what it is that you do, right? And that's That's the opposite side of this, right? Not to pick on them, because, you know, we all love our Shark Tank. We all love to see these startups, and don't get me wrong, it's entertaining. But you cannot have the discussion of looking for creating your pitch deck when there's a whole other industry on the other side of the wall in which you have to work for it. And at a certain point, you will never go back to the other side. You'll be like, I know what I have, and my website outranks them. You know what I mean? So, any other questions? Yes?
With businesses implementing AI left and right, how do you see SEO and GEO interacting with each other? Or
So, yeah, so let's SEO is dead, all right? The word SEO is gone. So, I'm only talking about the legacy system. Most businesses don't have enough of the legacy metrics to talk about being mentioned in AI yet. Okay? It's not that the business didn't grow, but here are the numbers. You need at least 50 organic visitors to your website per month. You need at least 300 to 500 backlinks. You need a domain rating of at least 15. Backlinks, yeah. At least. You need to be ranking for at least 30 plus keywords. At least 1/4 of them in the top 3. That's why it takes a year.
And you're talking about, in order for AI to start to rely on
Yep,
you.
because that's what's going to be seen. You have enough organic authority so that the LLMs and the agents see that you are a relevant business for them to be generatively talked about when someone asks about what you do. It has nothing to do with the fact that you don't have a good enough product. You don't have enough of the legacy SEO numbers to be in the conversation.
So you're saying regardless of where you go,
Right, because again,
is still important. Like that's still the
yeah, because the ranking system of the LLMs is still domain, keywords, organic traffic, right? And again, what do you think a blog is going to do for your website? It expands. You get backlinks from it. You get keywords from it. How do you get backlinks? You promote it on social. You promote the URL for the blog in your social posts.
So exactly
And you,
300 to 500 is like just from Facebook or Instagram.
right, do it all over. Because when you create a blog, you just created yourself 4 social posts from one blog.
Okay, so those are the goes into those back.
Right, because that comes from a referral. However, there's also the citations as well. You need to have a very healthy amount of local and national citations to let the internet know that you are actually growing the website. Not the business, the website. That's the differentiation between SEO and what you do face-to-face with a business, right? SEOs don't care. My job ends when the person picks up the phone or they walk in the door. My job is done. What I do is I try to use the internet and SEO to get people to notice that they need to call you or they need to come to your door. That's it. That's all it comes down to. Yes?
So the way I'm kind of like framing out like what you're saying is like one way to think of it is because the LLMs are being trained on the internet as like their material, their source.
Yep.
Like just by putting yourself more out there on the internet, that's the criteria that LLMs are using. They're not introducing a new set of criteria for their options that they're sharing on people's queries.
Right. So, and it's the most bare bones example without going into the AI LLM algorithms and trigonometry and stuff. But the basic point is that as a business owner, it is imperative that you consistently talk about what you do, your business. It is a daily requirement. Sometime, somewhere, what is it that you're doing today? What is it that someone that came into your business, what did they like about it? Asking for the reviews. Reviews are huge now because that's part of the LLMs on Gemini. They're not going to suggest a very broken down business that has half a star and 3 reviews. But they'll suggest a 4.8 over a 5.0. And this is why. The LLMs are reading the reviews as well. And if you have a bad experience praise it. Be professional. Be professional. Don't argue. Don't get into their business about the fact that they were a bad customer. Don't get into the business that you were having an off day. That happens. But the professional response is what LLMs are engaging with, and they're remembering. And why? Because they're looking at Amazon reviews as well. We do this ourselves when we go on Amazon. We scroll down to the 3s, the 2s, the product pictures, and we read the reviews.
Yeah, I want to know what broke.
Exactly. So again, how is that any different with what you do for your business? I'm not saying when you start a business you should go and cuss people out so you can get that 1 star. I'm not saying that. But when someone doesn't have a good experience, they are giving you more than you could possibly imagine, right? A lower score between 4.5 and 4.9 is the gold standard now, right? But use your words carefully, right? So, any other questions at all?
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So I worked with AT&T back in 2005. So back then, LaCasse.com was bought in Vegas for $100 million. And it was SBC and SEC that was a partner in Meetups. And SBC basically bought out AT&T Wireless. And they renamed themselves by 2010. So at that time, there were a lot of people reaching out and saying, hey, we want that backlink to the LaCasse.com. I think that website was 10 at that time.
Yeah.
And that was a thing for years. And then, of course, everybody got on that page. But I worked with the Exchange, and I know that our site did 3,000 visits.
Yep. Very
powerful.
powerful.
All the social media, all the websites, all the video content. And then that just fired the webs out. And then on the back end of our website, you can manage your listings with keywords in there. And you can change your content in real time. And what I did for IKEA about 5 years ago is they were moving into the market division that they built 10 years ago. But they wanted to be known as a local box store. Everybody knew what IKEA was because they were going to the market. So I went to them and I said, listen, there's many people that are going to come from San Diego or Minneapolis or something like that, and they don't want to bring that stuff with them, they want to drop ship it to the location here. So he said, what are we going to type in? We're going to type in Las Vegas IKEA. So what we did, and it wasn't hard because the URL so strong, but the first thing you know organically to this day is going to be the exchange listing. So that gives them that credibility, and that's part of the LLM.
Yep.
Because if you add a website to your to a platform like that, in addition to the exchange, that's going to be the equation that looks at is the credibility.
Yep. And that's the external outlink structure. It's a very important part of growing the website through higher profile, like the Vegas Chamber, even EDU websites, UNLV. If your business deals with education, college, moving on forward, employment, you get an article that's seen by UNLV, that bumps up the score. And the case being with Tech Alley's own backlinks, they have their strongest backlink is from UNLV like 3 years ago, because UNLV is such a powerful website. If you were ever to get published with a link on Wall Street Journal, MSNBC, finance.com, whatever, that throws your website way through the roof, but only for a limited time. It will go down. That's why you have to keep doing it, right? It will still stay at a strong plateau number. You'll have a very good domain rating, but if you don't keep it going, it starts to fall. Yes?
So what are you recommending to, I've been just doing SEO a long time, but most businesses can't afford link building, like real link building. In legal SEO, the links that we broker cost between $500 and $1,000 per link.
Yep.
So how is a small startup or business going to actually afford something like that?
It's one of the big four, right? Because they know how to capitalize on their backlinks, it's got to be socials, it's got to be blogging, but it can't be anything that misrepresents the firm, right? It's got to be testimonials from clients. I mean, and there's also other backlinks that represent a more broader business for the nation, right? Chamberofcommerce.com, that's a big one. bbb.org, right? You got to pay for it.
You mean, so like, they need to do well with their citations, first and foremost, and there's cheap services that you
Oh, yeah.
these days
And it's
without
absolute junk.
citations. Yeah, like for a lot of them, but yes, you can go and do a lot of them manually.
Yep.
Get someone to do a lot of them manually. But then from there, like, yeah, the more content you write, the more links you might attract organically, of course. But when you tell them they need to do link building, they don't think of that as, oh, if I write these amazing blog posts, that's link building. Like they don't see it that way. You're telling them they need to do link building. So what they want to do is get into the AIO, and then that's a whole different form of writing the content.
Yep.
So I don't know. I want to tell people to get links these days, but other than trying to partner with a link building agency, or doing basic digital PR, I don't know how to approach it as something affordable to small businesses.
So the first thing I would do is pull a backlink profile for the law firm. You got to know what they already have and what they don't have. Then go to a competitor that's just a little bit bigger than them and do a cross backlink profile and see what they have that you don't, right? At least if it's the race of the blue links from the old school, at least you can try to pass up one link above you, and then work on that. That's why the law field is one of my big four. It's so competitive. There's so much money that has to be spent on just the linking, and let alone the engagement, because we have buses with lawyers on it. We have bus stops with them.
Even like outside of law, if it's a SaaS company and they're trying to get links, and they have 4 people on their staff, maybe a marketing director, are you suggesting that marketing director go do that link comparison and then just start emailing all these companies themselves?
Well, emailing, or if they haven't done the local stuff, then sit down for a weekend and do the local stuff. You can do 100 in a weekend.
So I don't know if you mean like the one-offs, like the long-term, like sending 100 emails to.
No. Going to 100 individual citation websites.
So
Yeah.
Once you've done that.
Yep.
Like their ongoing link building strategy. I mean, at that point, that's why people pay agencies to do outreach, because it's incredibly time-consuming. You have to find the email addresses, you have to push them, and most of the emails get ignored.
Right.
Completely ignored. They end up in a spam box. You put that in a contact form, it is being completely ignored. And now your domain is being ignored too.
Yep.
And now you have email problems.
Right.
So, there's all sorts of things like.
Well, and that's why the argument that SEO is not a monthly expense, it's an investment.
Yeah.
You have to invest in the backlink profile of your business. That's the key component of ranking in the old system. Before we even talk about AI, you have to have a robust profile, period. And if it doesn't have it, then do you want to spend the monthly to hire an SEO to do it, or do you want to roll up your sleeves and do it yourself? One of them takes time, one of them takes money. It's just the way that it is, Go ahead.
So, over the years, I've brought in a lot of high-profile attorneys like Richard Harris and Sam Nash. The only reason they're members is to get the backlink. So when they're on our site, they're always what they're already doing. And when you think about their target audience is tourism. So if there's somebody who gets an accent to go back to LA, they want to find out somebody's reputable market, they know our site because they know that they're into them. So I think when you look at that and think about the bigger picture, I was the guy that Josh was talking about. So he comes into the chamber and I'm offering to a Tech Alley member $300 a year to get that link to go on a profile to have that content. So if you're working with clients and you say, hey, let's get this ball rolling, let's get you a strong backlink, that's what you can do. You can say, let's hit you up with this and let's get there. So I work with a lot of clients that do that already. Whether they're agencies and then we'll say, you just set me up with that profile record, and then they can manage it. I mean, they can look at the content, they can change it out as they go as technology changes. So if you're interested in learning more, that's why I'm here, and I work in the tech and international space at the chamber. So I'm dealing with a lot of tech from overseas and stuff.
Any other questions?
What tool do you recommend for pulling your backlink?
Profile. There's SEO Minion. There's Ahrefs free tool. Similar Web. That's pretty much it. Those are the free ones that you can download right to your web browser. They let you have a couple audits. You can just click the button on the browser and it'll pull up the numbers. Not all of them are the same. All of them have different mathematics behind what is organic traffic, what's organic keywords. But if you try at least two and then cross-examine both of the numbers, you'll have a better idea. Again, you know, when you pull those numbers, some people are surprised. They're like, oh, I got to do some things here. And that's fine. Do you want to know now, or do you want to ask the questions later as to, you know, no one's called me in 2 weeks. No one's came to my website. I don't know what's going on, you know. So that's before, if you see an issue and you're like, I don't know how to fix this, I need to talk to an SEO. Talk to an SEO and find out what they need to fix, and then, you know, pay for it. But again, as a business, it's also imperative to look at partnering with an SEO, at least for the organic timeline in the first 6 months. Because if you want to hit the ground running, an SEO, with the tools that an SEO like myself have, I can cut through a lot of stuff. I can cut through the high ticket keywords and the engaging long-term keywords that you should use for this post, even posting schedules. Again, it's about organics. It's about the long-term turtle growth to see what it is that you have, right? And see if it's competitive in the marketplace, right? Because it may not be. You may be oversaturated and be like, okay, well, I'm going to move on to something else. Or you find something that's very unique because you found the right words to describe your business. And people resonate with that. So, any other questions?
Yes.
Yes.
So when you are starting out, what is a general posting schedule?
I would start with doing something daily. You know what I mean? Switch it up. Instagram, Facebook. It depends on the business. Some businesses are more attractive with certain services and products. If it is a product and it is geared towards women, then Pinterest should be a priority. Pinterest has been slept on for months, right? And it's super, super cheap, free to build everything for your equity for your business. But the engagement rate goes through the roof on the weekends. LinkedIn for professional services, Facebook. People miss out on Facebook groups. You start a business page, use your personal profile and start looking for the groups and start joining them. As long as you read the warnings and not to promote your business in the group, but there are some that just let you promote, right? It's free, it's organic, it drives the consistency. Any customer that you've had up until this point, get a video. Get them to fill out a Google business review. The little things add up from day 1 to day 90 when you start doing this stuff, right? Any other questions?
You said that every blog post would be on 4 backlinks using social.
4 posts, right? So if you were to write a blog, that was a comparative, a commercial search intent, 10 best blah 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 in Las Vegas. You could post about it on Facebook, write a story or a post about it on Instagram, write a post on LinkedIn, and then find which ones gets the most engagement, right? And then reword it for another social, like for a video. This person said this was great, blog, blah, blah, blah. Do a little editing with the text below of, you know, what they saw. Right there's 4 posts. And it grows, right? You're feeding one into the other, right? Any other questions?
How do you reckon this might get to 300 backlinks? Are you okay when you say backlinks, you mean not from your own?
You start with the first 150. Go online, find free backlink citations, because the 150 over the next 2 months will grow to 200. And that will grow to 250 and then 300. All you have to do is the first 150 backlinks, right? It's a weekend. It really is. It's a weekend, right? And you would be shocked how many are free, right? Now, they're not going to be, 81 domain rating backlinks. They may be 30s and 50s, but it's not, backlinks aren't at the beginning of the business. It's a numbers game, right? You want masses. You want a lot of them, right? After that, then you build into the website people that you've worked with, partnerships, other businesses, right? That's where the real backlinks come in, because there's a link between both of you. But in the very beginning, it's chamber.com, BBB, it's Manta, Hot Frog, it's Angie's List. I mean, it's all these mass big websites. Fill it out and be done. You don't have to touch it again. You just do it one time, right? And then when you look at your backlinks in 3 months, you're going to see that you have 5, 10, 25, because they're all getting indexed, right? I know, it's another piece of homework for tomorrow. I get it.
When I was starting to review my site, I was like, I got one background. I have post stuff all the time.
Yep. So and it's again, it's like socials. It's a consistency factor. But at least you know.
I didn't know anything about that, so that's all.
At least you know the golden number is around 300. As long as once you get to that 300, you have no excuse for not getting organic traffic, because that beats like 80% of the businesses here in Vegas. They just don't have backlinks, or they pay for it, right? You organically acquired it, right? Now you have something to work with. You have some evergreen internal structuring for your website because you did the weekend work, right? After that, then it comes to blogs. Do the research on what people need to know about what your business is, what makes it different. Why are you experienced? Why are you an expert? Why do you have trust? Why are you the authority? Write blogs about it. And most importantly, put numbers in it. 5 best, 2025, 10 worst. Numbers in the title is golden right now, because people respond to looking at what those numbers are. Oh, they said 3 worst. Well, I'm going to go scroll through it real fast. Doesn't matter how long they spent on it. They clicked on it. You got the engagement, right? That's it. That's it. And again, it's 1 year. You got to give yourself a year for this. But you will learn so much about what your business does if you just give it 1 year.
Yeah, because if you're solving a customer's problem and you say, like, I mean, literally you can identify 3 mistakes your customers are making that you're going to solve. So you can just say, oh, the top 3 mistakes that this type of business makes.
It writes itself.
And do another 5 the next week. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Thank you very much. This is my information here. Appreciate it if you follow, like, whatever, YouTube, Instagram, all that fun stuff. I will post these up on my own YouTube channel once they get to me, and cut them up and answer questions. I'm also on the Tech Alley website. If you follow me in that ecosystem, you can ask me questions through there. If you leave me a review on SEO Expert Las Vegas, I'll do a free website audit for you. So thank you very much, and have a good day.